Hey, there's a new poll out by Quinnipiac that says that most Americans do believe it's homegrown terror. That's the greater threat than foreigners coming into this country. In fact, 58% say that they're more fearful of jihadists who were here, born here, grew up here. Only 16% say that the terrorists are going to come in hiding among the Syrian refugees. So what triggers these guys? What triggers someone who was born in this amazing country? How does radicalization really look? And ultimately, how do we keep our cities safe? Joining me now, Eric Guster, criminal defense attorney, back with us as well, Bo Dietl and Gina Loudon. You know, Bo, I'm sorry, I'll go to you first, Eric. The New York City Police Department wrote this amazing piece in 2007 on the process. 4 stages: pre-radicalization, self-identification, indoctrination, and jihadization. Now there's a different sort of thinking coming out of here that, you know, maybe somebody hooks up with a woman in the Middle East, they get married, and 3 months later, he's a full-blown jihadist.
What I have read and what I have studied in reference to how people get involved in this is very similar to street gangs. They're looking for something to identify with. They're looking for something because they're generally not an accomplished person, or they're trying to reach out for something. And that's what this could be easily an example of. This man went overseas, got his wife, brought her back, and all of a sudden, he decided he wanted to be a jihadist.
Right.
And
so you're saying it's sort of like a Tupac lyric. Even though these guys are bad, they showed a young brother love. Yeah. In other words, these guys are missing something in this amazing country. Even though it appears on the surface they've assimilated. This guy's worked at this place for 5 years. They threw him a baby shower. And they still resented him, Bo.
It's very important to know. I've been to Saudi Arabia 24 times. There's really crazy people in Saudi Arabia. There's a certain fraction that's really nuts out there. And I think that one hobby, whatever it's called. But the point I'm trying to bring out is this female who wore a full burqa, they call it, a full burqa, she was pretty handy. That little lady was pretty handy with that AR-15. She was no nice little lady. She was shooting at those cops. So my point right here is, I think you're right on it. She was a fully trained person that probably took the American citizen and made him fall into her spell.
Gina, I mean, you understand the psychology here, Gina.
Yeah.
How can this happen? I mean, and because we've got to be really worried. The process that I talked about before, the first 3 stages took years and years to sort of fester. But if this flash and bang thing is true, that someone can go from being somewhat assimilated to this country to hating us enough in 3 or 4 months that they will kill everyone that they know, then that's frightening. All bets are off.
You're exactly right. And Eric and Bo's points are exactly right, too, that it is a lot like the gangster mentality. But there's one primary difference, and this is where Islam figures in. And this is why it's so important that we're having the conversation and talking about Islam as an entity. And that is things like honor killing and things like genital mutilation that children are taught at an early age is a possibility if you break the rules in that religion, if you accept Islam as a religion, which I know a lot of people don't, and I'm not here to debate that. But this is a really important point. There is no correlation, Charles, between religiosity in any other religion and mass shootings like this. There is no correlation. You can take any religion across the world. There is zero correlation. So there
Gina,
is something unique in the cocktail that includes radical Islam.
Are you saying it's one of the tenets of Islam then? If you're not a Muslim, you're fair game, and you can actually kill someone strictly because they aren't of the same faith?
What I am saying, Charles, is that there is an understanding that violence is a natural consequence of not being a religious Muslim. And so children are taught this from a young age, and this is part of what plays into this sort of cocktail that can result in this kind of violence when it's mixed with that gang mentality, which includes kind of a victim mentality and a sort of societal alienation. Those are the other 2 factors that figure into that.
Eric is champing at the bit. Eric, listen, we know the story. We know the story of Muhammad, though. It was a very violent way that the religion was born, and it started to spread. We know that.
But even if you look at Christianity has been warlords and have taken over countries. So we can look at every religion.
I'm talking about the central figure. If you compare Jesus to Muhammad. Muhammad, you go from Mecca to Medina, You come back with a war, you know,
Yeah,
with
but
warriors.
You
and
had some
but it just-
warrior popes that used to send those crusaders in there and
Right.
say, kill the women and children. So we ain't, you know, I'm a
guys.
Christian,
So we have to be careful about
we
that.
ain't so clean.
So let's leave it
Right.
right there, because on the
How
front
many
cover.
Christians have committed these atrocities in recent times? Not many.
Well,
Not
we're
in
talking-
recent
not
times.
recent times.
Absolutely.
You're exactly right.
Hey guys,
That was that.
speaking of religion, the front cover of the New York Daily News this morning really took an ugly shot at the notion of prayer. No believers over there, and the power of prayer. The cover says it all. God isn't fixing this. We'll be right back.